today to be debating homework. On my right is proposition who's arguing in favor of banning homework. On the left is opposition who believes that homework has some value. Our speakers are going to be Emma, number 1, Cheyenne, number 2, Julian, number 3, and Tyler will be the closer for proposition. On opposition, number 1 will be Carter, followed by Lindsay, Megan, and John. Everybody worked together for the past hour to help their team prepare, and we are now going to have our lightning round debate on homework. All right. Our first speaker, whenever you're ready, you may go ahead.
Hi, my name is Emma, and I am the first speaker for proposition. We are saying that homework should be banned. Our first argument is that teachers give out big projects that may need an adult to help with. It affects grades teachers giving out big projects that may need an adult to help with, but they are alone most of the time until they get home and go to bed. Our second argument is that it affects health. In Japan, where there is less homework, people can go outside. The child obesity rate is 4 times less than it is in the U.S. You're supposed to only have 15 to 45 minutes of homework every day, and most high schoolers spend 3.5 hours on homework every day, which is more than 17 hours a week, which would be pretty stressful. Our third argument is that it takes away from free time, not at this moment. It takes away from free time. If you do a lot of homework, it can take away from free time that you could spend with your families, and it could cut into your social life, and you won't be able to hang out with your friends and do what you need to do at this moment. Fine, go ahead.
Well, you said that it takes away free time, but 10 to 45 minutes and 15 to 45 minutes a night, that's not the only time you have at night. You can still spend time the other times that you have at night.
Just naturally.
Well, there are other times that children can work on homework, but if you have a lot of homework that could take a really long time, you could be staying up very late at night, which will cause you to get less sleep, and it'll be harder for you to do so.
The majority of the time, if students manage their time wisely, then they will have time to get their homework done and they won't be stressed.
Giving response to the stress comment, and just move forward with the next argument. Did you have any arguments on the rest of this?
So,
Summarize your points.
our 3 arguments were that it affects grades, and it can affect your health, and it takes away from free time. Not at this moment.
I'm Carter, and I'm the first speaker for the proposition team. They say that teachers give out projects that might need adult help. We say, but why would teachers give out projects that students couldn't do by themselves? They also say that students spend more time on homework, but we say that's just because they don't know how to manage their time correctly. They also said that it takes away from free time. But like Grant said, we still have other time to do stuff during the day. Yes, Tyler.
Well, there may be more time after school, but if kids are involved in extracurricular activities, which could take them maybe late into the day, even to 6 o'clock, with the average high schooler and even middle schoolers occasionally being given up upwards of almost 4 hours of homework, that would bring them to, very late in the night, where where kids should really be going to bed to get the recommended time of sleep.
But why would teachers give students 4 hours of homework each night? That's our question. That's all for refutations. Our first argument is that homework gives repetition. On average, students need 7 repetitions to learn something. And teachers won't want to teach something 7 different times in class to take up class time to learning something else. So that's why they use homework. Also, it's prep for college and high school. If you don't know how to do your homework, if you don't do any homework before high school, you will be given bigger loads of homework in high school and college too, and you won't understand. You won't want to. You will be overwhelmed because of how much homework there is when you did nothing to now a huge amount. And also, they do homework for an evaluation process. Parents and teachers want to know how the kids are learning so that they know what to teach the students so they know what to teach and what not to teach. Our three arguments are repetition, evaluation process, and prep for college and high school.
I'm Cheyenne, and I'm the second speaker for the proposition side. And they say that homework gives the kids a sense of repetition. But we say that you may be good in class and then not be good at understanding something at home. And well, they say that it's prep for college. But what if the kids really don't want to go to college? What if that's what they don't want to do for college?
The transition from middle school to high school, the majority of kids, and it's highly unlikely for a student to drop out, they're going to go to high school and they're going to get much more homework compared to zero homework in middle school, leaving them unprepared.
Well, the transition between middle school and high school, you really get to choose, I guess, what you want to focus on. If you want to go to college or not, doesn't mean necessarily that you'll drop out of high school. You won't want to spend all of your time working on something that you honestly don't want to do in your future.
In high school, you still need to take required courses. You still need to take English. You still need to take math to actually graduate from high school. And if you're not going to plan on graduating, then you will have to go into another trade or something that might not have enough pay for enough salary to have a family or whatever you want.
Yes, you need to take those classes, but sometimes teachers give unnecessary amounts of the same thing that might not be, necessary for those certain subjects. And they say that it's an evaluation process when students, when they have homework, they could be stressed out about it. They might not know what to do, so they'll cheat off of other students, and then they'll get graded on that, and they might, get the wrong grade, and they won't, be tested on their abilities. So that was all for the recommendations. So, along with affecting grades, many students rush through the homework to get it done, and if their teachers grade their homework, they could get a bad grade on the assignment. With the health, the findings were troubling. Research showed that excessive homework is associated with high stress levels, physical health problems, and lack of balance in children's lives. It takes away from free time. You're only supposed to have 15 to 45 minutes of homework every day, and most high schoolers spend 3.5 hours on homework every day. That's more than 17 hours a week.
My name's Lindsay, and I'm on the opposition team. They say that many students rush to get their homework graded, but if you're managing your time well, you shouldn't be rushing. And if it's graded, then you definitely should not be rushing. Even if you do have to go into the late hours of the night, you should still be managing your time, so you shouldn't have to rush. They also say that it takes away from time you could be using to do other things, such as extracurricular activities. But again, if you manage your time well, then you really don't have your time taken away from you. That's all I have for recommendations. For my arguments, my first one is repetition leads to good studying habits. It can help students learn how to drill information into their heads so they can retain it, which can prove to be helpful. Homework also teaches responsibility. It helps prepare for high school and college, so that you're not overly stressed with trying to you're not stressed with trying to figure out how to manage your time. So middle school kind of works as just a test run to see how you're going to manage your time so that you can figure it out for high school and make it easier for yourself. My third argument is that it gives students too much time to misuse. If you don't have homework, what are you doing with your time? Many students out there are good. They do things in their time that are good for the community, or But a good percentage of America and across the world is that there are a lot of really bad people out there, and many of them are students. And what are they going to do if they don't have something to fill their time? They could be out there doing something that really shouldn't be done.
Hi, I am Julian, the second. I I'm Julian, and I am the third speaker for proposition. They say that students complete their assignments or projects on time when they are organized, and we say if you're not organized enough if you're not an organized person, you don't have a basis of study. You might not know what you're doing at all times, and will not be able to be organized enough to figure out what they're doing, and then they'll get stressed out and will shut down. Yeah. They say that if you're not doing homework, you will. Some kids are doing good things to help the community, and then other people are doing bad things. You say if you don't have homework, you can have more time to do things, and maybe you'll have more time to do the good things, and you'll have time to set things up and have a schedule, like going and helping at a homeless shelter or something during your free time thing, so that you're not doing homework, so you're doing stuff for your community.
Well, you said that like people are doing things that that are maybe good and they have more time, but people still are doing bad things maybe with the time that they don't have home.
But if they have more time, they might have a chance to think about it, and then they can maybe try and do it, and if they like it, they might do it more. Like do more better stuff.
What if they don't have homework and maybe they are doing good things, but what if they're just staying home, vegging out, watching TV, and playing video games? They're going to get fatter. So even though you said about Japan having no homework,
Well, I mean, not all people do that. There's a lot of people who play sports and do extracurricular things other than staying home and playing video games. And you don't always have to be on your devices.
Hi, I'm Megan, and I'm the third speaker from opposition. We are in favor of homework, and we think it is beneficial to students and that it should not be banned. Our first argument, to refute their first argument, they say that teachers give big projects that they might need help from adults, but I don't think any teacher, especially at a middle school level, would give a project where you would need a long time frame to do it and with adults' help. Our second refutation is that it negatively affects our health. They pointed out that in Japan they give less homework and they're more physically active, but in the United States, that 15 to 45 minute interval where we're doing our homework, that's not going to take away from time from when we get out of school to the time where students are told to go to bed. so we still have more time than besides our homework. They say it takes away from free time with family and social life, but I disagree because time management is key, and that's one skill that you'll need to learn to go into high school and college in preparation. Not at this moment. Not at this moment.
Students often can't actually manage our time, and even if we can, there's other things like sports or doing chores or babysitting younger siblings that we might be having to do instead of managing time and doing homework.
A lot of sports and a lot of coaches they take into consideration that students, we have to go to school, and so a lot of sports are after the time around 5 or 5:30, and so we have that 3 o'clock to 5:30 time frame where we have to do our homework. Our first argument is that repetition is key to success, and it helps clarify what is learned during the school day. So when students are given homework, we're more likely to improve on our tests and those big things that we have to study to go forward to, that we have to look forward to. Our second argument is that when we're given homework, teachers and parents can evaluate our progress, and so that homework leads up to quizzes, and those quizzes can lead up to tests, and so we get that repetition in, that the average student needs 7 repetitions. And our last argument is that it prepares us for high school and college, that time management is key, and especially if you want to be successful, you need to learn to be independent and not, you need to learn those time management skills. Go ahead.
I do manage my time as best that I can, but with sports and taking care of my dog and other things like that, I struggle. I have to stay up late at night to work on my homework anyway.
So staying up late is a concern, but you're gonna have to sacrifice some. Sometimes there's gonna be times where you're gonna have to. Your coaches or your directors or athletics or your directors are gonna give you that consideration where you do have school, so it shouldn't be a problem at this point. That's all I have.
I'm Tyler, and I'm the final speaker for the proposition side. Now, they say that repetition is key and that homework may help students who may need more repetitions to remember things because it's repeat of what they've been doing in school, and it would help drill it into their brain, and that it may help test scores, but there is statistically no correlation between larger amounts of homework and higher test scores nationally. They also say that it helps parents and teachers evaluate progress, but that's what many schools have an online grading system where you can see your students' grades, and it's free to check. So that's a very good way to evaluate your students' scores and things in tests and on your schoolwork. And they say that time management is very important, and that you need to develop time management skills to be successful in school. But a lot of students don't have the ability to form very good time management skills. And a lot of people who do manage their time wisely still don't have enough time to manage to get their homework done. Like someone I know has a very physically taxing job, and they're only in 9th grade, and that may cut into their time after school and may need them to go to bed earlier to get rest since their job takes such a toll on their mental, I don't know. So the first argument is that it affects grades. Studies have shown there is little to no correlation between excessive homework and national test scores. In fact, Finnish and Japanese students, who are given much less homework than American students, vastly outscore the United States nationally on tests. Our second argument is that it affects your health. When students are given large amounts of homework, it takes away from time that could be spent exercising or, being outside, which could take a big toll on your health. And with your social life and health, it restricts their ability. It may restrict students' ability to grow socially when they have no time after school to develop healthy relationships with their friends. Our last argument is that it takes away from free time. So personally, last year when I was playing football, I was given an opportunity to play up a grade, and since I had a large homework assignment that night, I couldn't accept the offer. That was all.
Okay. My name is Joan, and I am the third and final speaker for the opposition team. For the refutations, Tyler said that it affects your grades, and there's little to no correlation with large homework assignments and test scores. And he said that Japan and Finland, their students destroy us in test scores. But one thing that is kind of interesting is I know that Japan and Finland, they both have a much smaller teacher-to-student ratio. So it might be because there are less students in a classroom compared to in the United States. It's not just the homework. Another thing that Tyler said was that it takes away from exercise. One thing that our school offers and many other schools offer are sports. And sports are very convenient whenever you go through the school because many of them last from directly after school, so your parents don't have to pick you up to like 5 or 5:30. So that gives you the time to exercise, and it can help you manage your time and get exercise in as well. And the third and final thing that Tyler said was that it takes away from your social time. Many times, students will make friends at school, and if you live in a neighborhood, you can meet them outside of school. And if you manage your time wisely, if you just set out an hour aside of this is when I'm going to do homework, then you can have time for social, sports, and other extracurricular activities. Now for our arguments. There are many different things that study habits and learning by repetition help. For example, riding a bike. It's one of the things that we learned in the beginning of our lives by repetition. Repetition helps you study, and it only takes 7 repetitions for a student to learn something. Now, I believe that that excessive homework is not useful, but a small amount of homework, 15 minutes to an hour, can benefit a student greatly. That leads me into my second argument, that it helps teachers evaluate and see what they need to teach more. Homework is often graded by completion, not correctness, so the teachers can see where the kids messed up and where they can teach more. And then my final argument is that in middle school, if you are not given homework and then you go to high school where you're getting at least half an hour on average of homework in every single class, you're going to be completely unprepared. And this is the time to learn time management. This is why the opposition has won.
All right. Nice job. You guys want to say bye?
No.
Woo!